Hello. Hello.
Hello.
I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm about 3 octaves sultrier. I've got
You do sound a little raspy.
I'm a little yeah, I got a little bit of mucus in the old head noggin there.
Mm,
So I'm gonna do my best.
yes. Are you ready to hear a tale of blood and treachery?
Oh, always, always. You could almost make a game out of that.
You could.
Hmm.
So tonight we're going to talk about the breakout of the Third Servile War. The big difference between this one and the first two is the first two conflicts were pretty much isolated on the island of Sicily. This one is going to break out in mainland Italy. And we've talked at length before about Romans and slavery and all of that. And there are all kinds of Roman slaves. Romans take prisoners of war and make them slaves. Indentured servants willingly become slaves to pay off their debt. And slaves fill all kinds of roles in Roman society. There are house slaves, there are slaves who work on farms, and there are slaves who battle in arenas for the entertainment of others. And those slaves are called gladiators. And tonight we're going to talk about probably one of the most famous figures in Roman history, a man by the name of Spartacus, who, for all of his fame, actually very little is really known about him. And we'll kind of get into that as we discuss the background of the fight at Mount Vesuvius here tonight. It is believed that Spartacus is a Thracian, and we've thrown that term around before. If you think of Greece, with Macedonia sort of being the upper left-hand side, Thrace would be the upper right-hand side. So it's sort of like modern-day Lower Bulgaria. Most historians believe that Spartacus was possibly a mercenary, maybe even a Roman conscript, but for whatever reason, he found himself a Roman slave and sent to Eludus to be trained as a gladiator. Basically, there are all sorts of ludi across Italy, across the Roman Republic, where they train slaves to fight in these gladiatorial games. Now, the ludus that Spartacus was sent to was owned by a man by the name of Batiatus. Apparently, for whatever reason, maybe he just didn't like being enslaved. Perhaps it was due to cruel treatment at the hands of Batiatus. But it seems that Spartacus inspired the ludus to rebel. Initially, the revolt was going to be about 200 gladiators and slaves strong, but by all accounts, there was some form of betrayal. So the gladiators had to improvise and battle their way out of the ludus using only kitchen knives and whatever they could have at hand. And only about 70 of them were able to escape. However, when they did escape, they were able to capture some of the gladiatorial equipment and take it with them. This band, led by Spartacus, then basically roamed the countryside, attacking other estates and freeing those slaves as well. And here's where history, again, doesn't really ascribe a motive to Spartacus. They don't really know if his motive was just to escape slavery himself, to free other slaves, to bring the Republic to its knees. We don't really know, because Rome did not consider this to be a serious threat at first. So that's probably why the records of these battles are a little spotty. In fact, tonight's battle is more of a police action than an actual fight. Spartacus has been, and his men have been roaming the countryside for about a year, attacking estates, freeing slaves. And this is wealthy land around Capua. And many senators have homes there. So that, more than anything, sort of motivates the Senate to send a praetor by the name of Glaber down to deal with the situation. But again, the Romans are underestimating what Spartacus is doing, and they don't even send actual legionnaires. This is just local militia that Glaber sort of throws together to chase down Spartacus. Spartacus and his men have made camp on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius, and Glaber besieges the mountain and blocks off the only pass down the mountain. But he does not charge up the mountain, probably because, charging up while fighting down is probably a bad proposition. So he decides just to besiege them and try to starve them out. And at this point, it seems Spartacus and some of his lieutenants, a Gaul by the name of Crixus and another gladiator by the name of Oenomaus, have a plan to rappel down the side of the mountain using ropes made of vines and trees. But some of Spartacus' forces rappel down the side of the mountain and they attack the Roman militia from behind as the rest of the slaves attack from the mountain slope. And this takes Glaber and his militia totally by surprise, and they are completely massacred in this encounter. It's at that point that Rome will consider Spartacus to be a bit more of a threat and send another praetor by the name of Verinius to deal with him. In tonight's battle, this second Roman leader was originally named Verinius, but historically he is not there, so I have renamed him to another Roman character who may or not be a real person. So that's where we're at. That is the tale of Spartacus and his first engagement at the foot of Mount Vesuvius.
That is one of the interesting things about, where we have big holes in the historical narrative where so much has been developed through multimedia that we've seen in this case with movies and TV shows and games. It leads to like this awkward situation where we have like, oh, we don't have much historical context other than bits and pieces, and we have to kind of go from there. But it certainly it gets us right into the action, which is awesome. I don't have much to talk about on the War Council tonight. When we first look at it, I mean, when I first loaded up the scenario and looked at it the first time, I was like, oh wow. The things that strike me about it are the immense amount of terrain, which we will look at specifically. But we have a new wrinkle, as we kind of joked about before. But here it is in plain text that we are going to have a specific use for the I Am Spartacus card. It's a 5-banner fight between the slaves and the Romans. I will be taking the slave army and Spartacus first. I will get 6 command cards, and Peter will have the Roman army for the first round. He will get 4 command cards, and of course he will have Glaber and Salvius, as you have changed it to. In this one, because we are in those very narrow crooks and crannies of Mount Vesuvius, all the hills that we see here are totally impassable. So we've got a boxed in group right up here at the top of the map. That's an interesting breakout. It's either fight there or nowhere. And if a slave unit occupies a Roman camp hex at the start of the slave player's turn, so as long as he holds it and keeps it for a full Roman turn, then he gets a victory banner that can never be lost. And we remove that camp hex terrain and collect the victory banner before we play a command card. So we see with that there are 2, 3, 4 of them potentially available. So if the slaves can overwhelm the Roman ramparts there and take those spots, that is a very fluid amount of victory points that they can gather from that. We are playing with the Marius Legions rule here in effect, meaning that we're using the red blocks, of course, but as we've done in the previous couple scenarios, the medium Roman units there will have a 1-die range combat capability. So that is per that rule. And then finally,
and reflective of Glaber's forces, most of these forces are auxilia and not true medium or heavy troops.
Exactly. They're probably wearing very light cotton padding and girded loins, as you would expect. And then the final there, I Am Spartacus, is a benefit only for the slave player. So if I get it in the first game or Peter gets it in the second game, if I play I Am Spartacus, in addition to whatever the die roll is normally, which is 6 dice, because that's my command rating, I will get 2 extra dice. So you get to roll 8 dice for Spartacus for all of your possible activations. Now, this is a very small unit density here. We only have, looks like, 11 units for the slave player, so that is the bulk of his forces potentially could be activated with that 1 card play. So that's nothing to sneeze at. We have terrain. We will just revisit the information. Obviously, the forests are out there. If that becomes a factor, possibly light units can occupy and still combat in those forest units. We don't have any mounted units to worry about, so nothing sweating on that. But with ramparts, the when units are attacking across the hex sides that the rampart covers, usually it's 2 or 3 hex sides that are covered by that rampart, um, then the units within the rampart there get foot units specifically get a 1 sword and 1 flag protection, so they get to ignore one of each of those because they have the benefit of the rampart. But it does not block line of sight, so you can throw missile weapons over and through those ramparts. I don't think we have anything else here on this one. What are your thoughts for both sides?
It's a bit challenging. The camp rule is the thing that concerns me because there are 4 camps, so and there's only 5 banners. Whereas in our last breakout, where the Romans had surrounded the barbarians, and to my mind, it was focusing that army onto one side. Here, the Romans have to pretty much hold the center. They can't attack one side, otherwise, they would expose those camps to the other side. So, yeah, this will be an interesting challenge. We'll like to see how it goes.
And I really do, I'm curious about the Spartacus's line there at the bottom, or the south part of the map, because, they have a choice there. Do they go up and try to force the Romans to retreat into them, or do they box them in? But they also have that same problem. But I do notice there's some avenues at the moment of retreat for Spartacus and those forces if they approach from that direction. So we shall see how that goes. But we will draw up our cards here now. I will get.
I'm assuming I don't see it here in the War Council, but I'm assuming we're still retreating to our respective sides.
Correct. Yes. It did not indicate that, but all things being equal, I would think, the slave army up at the top will go towards the top, and as I mentioned, I think Spartacus would be retreating in toward those camps. And we will play as long as my voice holds out, or the gunk overtakes me. So I'm gonna.
You get your 6 cards, and I'll get my 4.
Okay.
Right there, that changes the complexion. I thought the Romans were going to get to go first. Well, that makes sense. They were ambushed after all.
Well, good. Yeah. See, there's the reaction I was hoping for. I love when you get your cards and you go, But good luck to you, sir.
And good luck to you, Spartacus.
For the moment, I am Spartacus. Well, there are a couple of cards here I can just throw right out because they're what we call hot garbage. But we will do this. Yes, why not? Why wouldn't we? So let's do step forward. And let's see if we can't cause some trouble and strife. We'll start with the warriors here against your lights. So again, attacking across that rampart, you get some momentary protection. Would you like to evade?
Would I like to evade with the light? I think they will hold.
Okay, they have no idea what these slaves are worth. So here we go. 4 dice coming out.
Or stand. Wow. There we go. Such is the ferocity of the gladiator army.
That's right. With
2 dice to retaliate.
Let's smack them back. The lesser ferocious auxilia over here, we'll see if they can't finish them off with 3 dice. And they do not. So that is all for those. But you certainly may take that evade or that.
I'm going to take the retreat.
That will give me the option to take the rampart, and I believe I will take that. All right. Next, we will do my mediums against your mediums with 4 dice across that rampart. And you get to ignore 2 of those dice. Actually, ignore both retreats and one sword.
So, one sword in retaliation.
Okay. And warriors on the end do not have a target, so yeah, they'll go after your auxilia there on the wall. 2 dice. Nothing. Okay. Nothing back. All right. And it is yours.
Enough to do what I really want to do. So it'll be those 3 units. So those auxilia will throw.
Pew! You hit me. All right.
That medium will attack your auxilia, so there's no benefit here from the rampart since we're fighting side by side.
Right.
So 4 dice with leader support.
Makes them pay for their incursion. 3 hits.
Mm,
And we'll get 2 dice back.
3.
Oh, 3, yes. So 1 hit, and you can ignore that retreat.
And go after those mediums there with 4 dice. Ooh.
1 hit, and 4 back. Ooh.
Mm.
Get to ignore both the flags, though.
Okay. Yeah, this is a pickle.
Let's do that again. Okay. Let's do this first. Get Salvius. Alright, so here's 3 dice. Come on, we'll get Salvius. And we get him. And we will occupy that camp. This warrior will come at your mediums there with 4 dice. Get him. Come screaming over the walls and attack those auxilia there. 4 dice. 1 hit, 1 retreat. And the lights can now throw over the wall. So they will throw 1 die at that target. Get a hit. So yes, they will go after the auxilia there. 3 dice now. And you can ignore that retreat. And I have to take
You cannot ignore that retreat.
So go back 2.
And I am hosed. That's why I laughed.
Boo! Imposter!
So,
Yeah, 75% ain't
get
bad.
to order 3 of my units.
Yeah.
3 dice into the camp.
Ah, very nice.
And auxilia do get an advance move, and they will take it. They're going to throw 2 spears at the warriors.
Okay. Did your mediums, were you just changing the order of...
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Okay.
Now we'll attack with the mediums. With 4
them.
dice.
Yep.
Well, you got retreat, so good.
Well, 2 hits. Hit and retreat.
So that throwing that spear was key, because otherwise you wouldn't have had to retreat.
That's right.
About as good as a turn as I'm going to get.
Or I could just do that.
That works too.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to roll 2 sets of 4 dice, and we'll see what we get. So, here we go. Alright, so we got 3 leader choices, and 2 medium and 1 light.
You get to activate six units.
Yep. Okay.
6 units. One of them has to be a light, and 2 of them have to be mediums.
All right.
I wasn't doing the plus. Don't you get a +1 die for the Spartacus thing?
You do.
And I totally didn't do that on any of my rolls, but oh well. Point that out in the chat. Just know that I'm off my game because of the swift attack from the slaves. Otherwise, I would have hopefully been able to take out those warriors entirely.
That's true. That is true. Because it would have accounted for the throwing too. Yeah. Yeah, we're both a little off tonight, so. Well, we hope you enjoyed anyway, folks. All right. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 1, 2. So I get 6 total.
Yep, one of them has to be green, 2 of them have to be blue.
Got it. Okay, that is right then. Okay. So there, 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 and there. All right. Let's start out here. Do that. 4 dice now with Spartacus, plus leader bonus. And wipes them out. Okay. They will advance into there. Alright, we'll do the warriors against your lights here. They can, of course, evade.
I think they're going to have to.
Yeah. Okay, so 5 dice with only green circles. Got 1 green circle. And then come in here and see if they can't take out that unit there. So 5 dice again. No leader this time. And 1, 2. Got him.
That's it.
As you say, these slaves had a little something stuck in their craw a little bit. They came over the walls
Quick
and all around.
And brutal.
Yes. That is the way you want it in hand-to-hand combat. Okay, well.
Here's a key drawback for the Roman player. You know, their forces are almost all concentrated in the center. And I have a handful of cards for right units.
Yes.
So I have nothing that I can really play.
Well, I had from the beginning the hot garbage I mentioned. Order mounted. That was ridiculous. Having the 2 line units or line commands right from the beginning, of course, that was the linchpin of the strategy, since that line exists right from the beginning. So I just walked up and ground it out. But then I started drawing every replacement draw was leadership any section, leadership any section. I was like, well, I only have Spartacus, so I'll hold off using that until. But then you played the I Am Spartacus, and I was able to copy it, so that presented itself. But yeah, this is very brutal. It seems, especially having the 2 leaders in the camps by themselves. If there's a breakthrough over that wall, that's just ugly.
Yeah, and I had hoped in my first turn to try and surround those camps a bit more, so they'd have more units they could influence. But again, I didn't have cards to do that. That's why and that was probably a mistake of falling back with that guy. I had meant to evade with them, but you rolled so quickly I didn't get a chance to evade, which allowed you to come over the rampart.
Oh, that's right. He did. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Game 2 will be better.
No.
Do we need to restart?
All right, go take 5.
Okay. We are back. We have a new player now, and instead of Salvius, we have Marcus. And you now get to exact some measure of retribution on my hapless Romans with your 6 command cards.
Okay.
I have my 4, so I am ready to proceed when you are, and good luck as always to this game.
Good luck indeed.
Hey, I know that card. Why, I'm flattered.
You're probably going to see a lot of the same cards you had. Maybe even some you had that you didn't play.
Maybe.
All right. Auxiliary will attack those light infantry.
So I will evade.
Okay, 3 dice.
Oh.
Good evade, even though the rampart would have protected you from the sword.
They are going to fall into the camp and get some leadership.
All right.
Okay.
Warriors attacking the auxilia.
Nowhere to go.
4 dice. So 1 hit that you're going to ignore.
3 back across the wall. And nothing.
4 dice, medium on medium.
Hmm.
Again, just 1 hit.
1 hit. All right, 4 dice back. And give and take.
2 dice on the auxilia. Ooh.
That was unexpected.
That's right. You get to ignore a flag because of the rampart.
1 rampart and 1 supported.
All right.
Yes, 3 dice back. Nothing. Yeah, you're not kidding. This is a tough nut to crack. Too many things to do and too little time to do it. All right, we'll do 3 in the center. Those 3.
And Marcus. Oh,
Marcus
on the move.
go to there. All right, leadership everywhere. These auxilia against your auxilia first.
Okay.
3 dice plus leader bonus. Getting 2 hits. We'll ignore both of those.
Flags, since you are supported and behind the rampart, you are good.
Then we will have our mediums. We'll have them go after those auxilia as well. This is a race, so I need to kill them quick. It's 4 dice plus leader
Gotta
bonus.
get those banners.
That's right. And we will do so.
Oh yeah, the leader.
And they will not advance. Back to you. Oh, this game.
4 dice across the rampart.
1
A hit.
4 back now with leader bonus. 2 hits and a retreat. Ooh.
1, 2. 4 dice, same unit.
We will
1.
ignore that sword over the rampart.
Oh, hey, you can do that.
Yep. All right. 4 dice back, leader bonus. 2 hits and a retreat.
Four dice on those warriors. Or your mediums, my warriors. 1 hit.
And 4 dice back with leader. 1 hit, 1 retreat. Oh, you can ignore the retreat, of course.
Let's see if I can get a long shot here. 2 dice on the auxiliary with Marcus.
Ignore
Nothing.
both. Right. 3 dice back with leader. And 1 hit. That was a good card. I like that card. So we're going to do that.
That's a lot.
Alright. Let's do mediums against your warriors. 4 dice. Marcus against your mediums. The auxilia, 3 dice plus leader. Auxilia down here against your warriors. 3 dice plus leader. 2 hits. Nothing.
Nothing.
Mediums here against the same target. 4 dice with no leader. And against your lights. Of course, you have the option. Alright, so 4 dice, green circles only. Nothing. And that is all.
I'm boned. Three dice.
Got
Retreat.
retreat.
4 dice.
They will evade. Oh, the end of poor Glaber.
So you want to evade?
He has nowhere to go.
He can't go. He can join that auxilia.
But that's not how leaders evade. They actually have to suffer the attack and then are forced to move out of the way if they get it. Yeah, if they survive. So yeah, that's a free banner right there. There. One hit. No hit. Just
No,
retreat.
just send them packing.
Alright, we will do a double time.
Oof.
Do those. Okay, well, we'll attempt this one up here first. So the 4 dice against your lights.
I've got nowhere to go.
2 hits. Ah, scrappy. A hit and a retreat. Alright. Big fight over here. We got 4 dice plus leader bonus. And they can ignore 1 sword. Let's see. They can ignore quite a few things in that camp. Let's see.
So I can ignore a sword and
a
a flag.
Right.
So that's going to be 2 hits.
2 hits.
He'll get his full 4 dice back.
Hit. And we will stay there. And the mediums will follow up with 4 dice with no leader bonus. But they will put an end to this servile insurrection.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. That was, I'm as flummoxed as you are, but, good dice rolling will always an advantage. I think your line commands, just because whatever you didn't get a breakthrough, I guess you did them back to back, just like I did, right? But the dice were.
I did not roll quite as well as you did, though.
No, that's right. And softening you back up over the walls as you were attacking. Oh yeah.
I'm not in charge though. I'm ready for that.
Yeah, me too. Right. Yeah, this one is definitely a dicey affair if we're putting final thoughts on it. It can certainly sway quickly, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
we'll certainly go quite a ways to get those banner scores a bit more cinched up.
Sure.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, when I got the double time there at the very end, after I got that right before you did the push with taking out Glaber, and I was curious if I was going to get the shutout, but that was perfect to go in there. That's, essentially what I did against Salvius. Was, hey, there's a warrior in striking distance to a leader who's got a big shiny helmet. Go get him! We're so used to the 6, 7, and 8 banner games now that whenever you and I get a 4 or 5 banner match, it's just like I was just getting started. There's there's so much more to this story, isn't there? But I guess not. So what do you think?
Oh, not until next week.
Oh, of course. Yes. It's next week continues the story of the Third Servile War with another mountain and another camp, right? So that will be my story to do. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this little tete-a-tete this evening with Spartacus and his buddies on the mount, and we encourage you to make yourself heard down there in the comments section. And give us a thumb, give us a like, whatever. Ring the bell, click subscribe. You know the drill by now. We certainly rely on your feedback, and we are encouraged and enlightened by things that we missed. Sometimes I catch things in editing, but yeah, every now and again, somebody will post something like, "Hey, why'd you do that?" And we're like, somebody literally asked that yesterday on something from like the first 15 games. I was like, probably one of us just overlooked it at the time. So, yeah, we still catch stuff that we did wrong. But, as usual, always a pleasure, sir.
Good stuff. Bad cards. Bad dice.
Okay. Well, this too.
Bad dates.
Bad dates. This too shall pass. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this, and we will see you all here next week. Have a good one.
Good night.